What if you could publish 24 digital product listings to your Etsy shop with just a few clicks? In this video, I'll show you how MyDesigns makes this possible within a few minutes. So let's get started. Now, the first thing that we need to do is go to mydesigns.io and either create an account or log in if you do already have one. And you can do that by clicking here at the top right corner. You can see mine says open as MD as I am already logged in. Now, this brings us to the dashboard page. Your menu might be small like this, but if you want to extend it out, you can just click that button. What we want to do from here is navigate to the listings tab. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now, the first thing you need to do here is to create a collection, which is essentially just a folder that holds our listings or our designs. And we can do that by going to this home button here, clicking on this, and then you can just click add folder. I've gone ahead and created one ahead of time, which is under YouTube and then baby animals digital, as that's what I'm going to be using as an example here today. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm just going to click open folder at the bottom. Now you'll see this says empty listings. So our next step is to actually get some images that we would like to sell. If you already have some, you can go ahead and just click upload here, upload files. What I'm going to be using today as an example is Dream AI. So we're going to just go ahead and generate the images. Now you can see I have a few that I've generated ahead of time so that we can save some time, but I do want to show you how I came up with this. So originally, I believe that this prompt right here was the prompt that I used. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and then I'm going to go over to what we call our MyDesigns GPT. Now what this was built for was to essentially just help you get ideas to scale prompts. So if you research a top-selling design, you can now scale it to different ideas that are similar by using this GPT. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and say, analyze and scale this prompt to the top 25 pets in America. And then we'll just go ahead and do 2 line breaks, and then we'll put our prompt here in quotes. So now that I've got that there, you can really word this kind of however you want. And if you can't think of a way to word it, you can actually just click these buttons here. So then I'm going to go ahead and click go. And then you'll go ahead and see that this spits out a bunch of different prompts. This one, the first one, was about a nursery cow. We've got dog, cat, rabbit, guinea pig, etc. So then I'll go ahead and just copy and paste all of these prompts right here into MyDesigns Dream AI, and I'll actually show you how this works as well. So now that it's done, I'm going to go ahead and copy all of these, and then we're going to jump back over to MyDesigns Dream AI, and I'll show you how to generate these all at once. We're now back over on MyDesigns, and we're in Dream AI under Create here. So I do want to point out the model right here that I'm going to use is Ideogram version 3. You can select different ones here. You can also select even more models by pushing that down arrow there. The style is going to be design. I'll generate 2 images for the sake of this example. You can do more or less if you would prefer. And then I'm going to be generating them at a 4:5 aspect ratio, as I want to sell them at 4500 by 5400 pixels, which is the most common for print on demand, and that's what I think these will be used for the most. Now the other thing here that's really important, I'm going to leave magic prompt off, but the important thing is when we're trying to generate multiple prompts at the same time, we can turn this parallel prompts button on. Now it says each new line will generate a separate image. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this prompt, erase it, and then I'm going to paste the entire list of the prompts that we had from the MyDesigns GPT. So you'll see that the MyDesigns GPT actually put the line break in here for us, as that's what we've trained it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just click Dream so you guys can see how that works. And it says 150 credits because once again we are generating 2 images of 24 different types of pets here. So I'll just go through a few of these while those generate. You can see it's working, the loading bar at the top. It might take just a minute, especially with 24. But you can see we've got some really good results here. Some of them look like they came through as almost like a coloring page, which in this case we would just skip those ones, or I mean we could include them as well. But I'm going to go through these, and I'm just going to select some that we want to use. So I'm going to go to the bottom of where these prompts originally started. And I believe that it's soon here. Here we go. So that's looks like some Halloween ones being generated. So we'll go ahead and start here. I'm just going to select the ones I like the most, going up here until we have 24 different ones. It looks like we do have 25 images selected though, so we've got one more than 24, but that's fine. All we have to do now that we have them selected, you can see 25 out of 120 are selected. That means we can select up to 120 at once. But all I'm going to do is click Save to Listings here, this big blue button in the top right corner. It should automatically map this to the collection you were in when you click Dream AI, which was the one I showed you at the first of this video that we created called Baby Animals Digital. So we're going to leave it there. That means that's where we're saving it. We actually can just go ahead and remove the background here. MD1 does not quite as harsh of a job. MD 1.5 does more harsh. I think we can just stick with MD1 as most of these images have a black outline, which really helps, as well as the white background. So I'm going to leave it as MD1 to remove the background. I do want it to upscale all of these images for me. And then I'm going to create new listings, and I'm saving these images in our main file slot, and I'll show you what that means here in just a moment. So I'm going to click Save to Listings. Yes, store images, and once that's done saving, I'll jump over to our listings and show you what it looks like there. All right, now all of our listings have saved to our collection here, so you can see that our images are now stored. They have the background removed on them, and they are also upscaled. So they're essentially ready to be sold with just a little bit more work done to them. I do want to point out I also deleted one listing just to keep it consistent at 24. We can view 24 on a single page as well. So this next step, all I want to do is essentially set these up with the right dimensions now, and then I can start creating the mockups and things like that. So I'm going to select all of these images at once, or listings at once, by just clicking this button, and you can tell they're selected by seeing the blue check mark next to them. Next, I'm going to go to our canvas system here. And then I'm going to go to templates, and I'm actually going to do a custom size. At the first of this video, I said I wanted to sell them at 4500 by 5400 pixels. So I'm going to just put that in and click create. Now you'll see it adjusted our canvas here. Now in the top right corner, I'm going to select add listing file. I'm going to leave this as main file, as that's where our image is saved to. And then I'm going to click add to all. Now, add to all is going to do this for all 24 of our listings, not just a single one. So what I want here is to make this image a bit bigger, as I don't think it fills up enough of the canvas. So I'm going to do that here, and then I'm going to right click on this image, and I'm going to click sync. Before I do that, I want to show you. So I adjusted the size of this one, but you'll see down here we're working with canvases, an individual canvas, for each design. So I'm going to go back to the original now. I'm going to right click on this and click sync. What this does is it adjusts that size change to all of them. So now I basically just have to go through, because you'll see, for instance, this one is barely over the top, so I just want to move it down. Most of them will be within the frame, especially if, for instance, I move this down so that it cannot extend past. But I like to put my designs more towards the top of the canvas, which for a digital listing, it's not necessarily necessary, but I do it because most people will probably be selling these for a t-shirt, and that's kind of how they want the file to be set up. So I'm going to go ahead and just make these adjustments, and then we'll save them to our listings. All right, now that all of those images have been adjusted, all I have to do now is click Save in the top right corner here. I'm actually just going to overwrite the original file, the main one. So I'm going to put the output file slot as the main file, and I do want these to export as a PNG, so I'm going to leave that there. I'm just going to click Save, and then yes, overwrite all files. Now that will take about 30 seconds, and then we'll start to work on the mockups. All right, those images are now being done, being saved, So if I hover over the main file now, you'll see it's 4500 by 5400 pixels, and that is the same for all of these. And then all of the designs are now adjusted towards the top of the canvas, which is perfect. So now our next step is to actually create some mock-ups to showcase these designs. So I'm going to go ahead and select them all once again if they're not selected. I'm going to go to mockups here, image mockups, and then I'm actually going to load a profile. So what a profile is basically it's a set of mockups that is pre-saved saying we want to use these over and over. So instead of having to come in here each time and select all the mockups we want, I'm just going to click load profile. I'm going to use a public profile that we have here. So this one is specifically for digital PNGs. So I'm going to select this one, as that's what I'm doing, is I'm selling these as a PNG. So you'll see now that it added all of these mock-ups up here. So it looks like we've got a tote bag, stickers, a t-shirt, and then also just basically a digital product mock-up showcasing the design. And then it says up top, PNG digital design, easy download, commercial use, print file, etc. So I think this is great, but I also want to add a few more to this. So I'm going to change this category. I'm going to go to digital here. And I'm just going to scroll through here until I find the ones I want. But basically, I want a mock-up that showcases that, hey, this file can be used for a t-shirt, or this file can be used for a mug. And I believe that we have a few of those in MyDesigns here. Right here, these are what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one here, and then this mug template here. And I do need to make a few changes here. First of all, I want to point out your input file slot means the image that you're basically putting on the mockup. So we're obviously going to leave that as main file. It's the only image that we have. But I do want to change the colors here as well. So I believe that this color is like the arrow and then this side color. So I'm going to select this dropper, and I think I'm just going to do it this blue color right here. Secondary color, I'm going to switch over to white. And then I'm going to generate a preview to make sure that that is how I want it to be. And while that's generating a preview, I'm going to jump over to the other one, and I'm going to do the same. So for background color 2, I'm going to go ahead and select that same blue color. We'll leave the background color 1 as black and change the shirt color to white. And I believe that that should look good. But yeah, we'll go ahead with that. The mug is black and the background's white, but that's fine. I wanted the opposite, but I actually think that that looks great with this particular design. And then we'll have one showcasing the black mug as well as one showcasing the white t-shirt. So I think those look great. We could obviously do more mock-ups. Etsy allows up to 10 plus a video, but for the sake of saving time, I'm just going to go ahead now and click Generate Mock-ups at the bottom right here. And that should take about 10 to 15 seconds to complete. And then our next step is going to be filling out this data, our title, tags, and description, which we have a really cool tool here called Vision AI. It's trained on best-selling data. So it'll essentially analyze your image and then generate all of your title, tags, and descriptions for you. So once these mockups complete, we'll jump into that. All right, those mockups are now complete. Looks like one more just finished up as I said that. So I want to showcase what these mockups actually look like and show how many we really generated there within less than a minute. So I'm going to click this grid view here. This essentially hides our data and allows us to see the images larger so that we can make sure there's no issues with them. So now to view a mockup, we can just click it, but if we want to view it on all of them, we're going to double click it. So these mockups, that's probably going to be my primary there. I think it looks absolutely incredible, really showcases the design, shows that it's a PNG and that you can easily download it and that you can use it for commercial print files. So those look fantastic. Let's go ahead and go through a few of the other ones. So there's one showing it on a t-shirt, one showing it as different kinds of stickers, on a tote bag. And then here's the additional mockups that I added, basically showing, hey, here's your file, you can use it on a t-shirt, or here's your file, you can use it on a mug. So it's a really cool way to generate mockups. And once again, we did this for 24 listings at a single time. And it looks like, what was it, 6 mockups each? So that was a ton of mockups being generated at a single time. It's a really big time saver if you know how to use this. So our next step is to fill out this data. But I do want to do one more mockup because Etsy actually showcases your listings. Well, rather, they found that people are more likely to click into your listings if you have a video on them as well. The reason being is because when they hover over your listing on the main page without clicking into it, your video will start playing. So they can actually see more of what your listing has. So we have one built into MyDesigns. I'm going to go back to mockups. Once again, make sure you have your listing selected. This time I'm going to select video mockups. So now what it really is essentially just a transition slideshow that kind of showcases each of your mockups for a split second. So I'm going to just do these in the exact order that we have them. If you want to switch the order, you can see 1, 2, 3. It changes based on how you click. So I'm going to leave it like that. and then I'm going to save it here in our video mockup slot, which you can change it to really any empty file slot. I set up my template to have the video mockup. Then I'm just going to click submit. Now videos do take a little bit longer to generate, obviously, as they are a little bit more complex, but it should be done within a minute or two, and then I'll show you what that video looks like, and then we'll jump into data. Now that that video is done generating, I'll go ahead and just click on this first one here and then open it up so you can kind of see what it looks like. So like I said, just a quick transition that shows all of your different mockups, but like I said as well, it really helps people click into your listings to be able to see. So now that that's done, we've got all our mockups done, we've got our print file that we're actually selling. Let's go ahead and click Vision AI here. This is to help us fill out our data. So I'm going to click Vision AI after, once again, make sure you have all the listings you want this to apply to selected. So Vision AI. Now the input file slot is basically the image we're feeding the system. This is what the AI is scanning. Product type, we're going to deselect t-shirt, and I'm just going to search digital here and select that. And then we're going to leave this as Etsy. That's the platform we're selling these on. Our newest model. And then this is saying we want it to generate our title, description, and tags here. Now we're going to leave product features blank as it's a digital file, but I do want to add custom instructions here. And I want to say this is a digital file being sold as a PNG. Please include this in the data. And then I'm also going to say this is an AI generated image. Please include this at the bottom of each description. So Etsy requires you, when you're selling something that is an AI generated image, they want you to include that in the description or somewhere in your listing so that people know that that's what it is. I don't know how strict they're being on this, but if they recommend doing it or say they require it, I recommend you do it to not run into any issues later. So we're going to leave the writing mode to overwrite, and then we're going to click Generate Listing Data now. And then yes, run Vision AI. And you can see it said it was going to run it for 24 listings at once. So that should take about 30 seconds to complete, if not sooner, and then I'll show you what that looks like as well. Okay, great. So it's already done. I'll go ahead and just go through a little bit of this data so you can see what it looks like. So this says cute duckling PNG, digital download, cartoon animal image, kawaii duck clip art, baby shower decor, nursery art, instant download. So that's a fantastic title. What I always recommend to people is Vision AI will get you about 85 to 90% there, but I always recommend going through this data, maybe changing out a few things, adding a few keywords, removing a few that you don't think sit well. But I think that is fantastic. These tags look great as well. And then on the description, I want to particularly point out, I asked them to include this is an AI generated image. So that is at the bottom there, and it should be at the bottom of each of these descriptions. So now that our data is done, our mockups are done, and we have our print file, we're essentially ready to go. The next step is to publish these to our Etsy shop. So I'm going to go to the top right corner here and click Publish. Under digital, this is important, don't do print on demand unless you're publishing to print on demand. I'm going to click Etsy. Now, I'm going to select files to sell as we're just selling one for this example, and then it by default selects this main file. So that is the image now that our customer is going to receive. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next Step. Now this says select the mockups you want to be published. It actually already has them selected by default. Our system recognizes which ones is the mockups. So now if we want to change the order essentially in which these appear, we can by just dragging them like this. The first one is going to be your primary mockup on Etsy, so I'm going to leave that one there. I want people to really understand it's a digital file. They're not receiving any physical items because we do have mockups showcasing physical items. So I'm going to go to the next step now. I actually do want to point out if you like watermarks on your shop, you can add one here and then add the text, whatever you'd like. That'll essentially add it over the top of all your mockups and your actual file. So I'm going to go next step. Now we can actually use Vision AI in this step if we would prefer to. I like to do it ahead of time. But if we want to filter between our listings because we're working with 24 different ones, we can do that here. And then I'm going to go back to the original, and you can see our price is set to 0. Quantity by default is $9.99, but I'm going to bulk edit the price here. So let's say we wanted to sell these, for something like maybe $198. And then the quantity I always set to $9.99, which is Etsy's max. And then I'm just going to click apply changes in bulk. Now you'll see the price updated here, but the bulk means we did it for all these other listings as well. So you'll see when I'm filtering between them, the price is there for every one of them. So now I'm going to go to the next step again. This is the last step of the publishing process. Essentially, it just shows us what our actual listing is going to look like. So here's our primary mockups for these listings, and then our additional mockups underneath, as well as our title, price, quantity, description, and then tags in blue. Over here, if you have multiple shops connected and you wanted to publish to a different shop, you could just select it here on the drop down. And then the category is by default digital, but you can change that here as well if you'd like. So now all we have to do is click publish, which I'm going to do. This usually takes about 2 minutes, and then I'll jump over to our Etsy shop and show you what these listings look like there. All right, we're now over on our Etsy shop, and this is just a test shop that we use for videos and things like that. But everything you publish to your Etsy store will always go to your draft. So under listings here, you can see that's where I'm located. Just go ahead and click that if you're not in here. Then we want to go to draft over here on the right side. And you will see we have all of our listings that we just created right here. So if I click into one of these listings, you'll see our mockups are in the exact order that we had them. We have our title, descriptions, tags, etc. So I hope everything in this video made sense. If you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the next one.